Hello everyone, this is Jed Shlackman. I work as a holistic counselor, as a spiritual energy healer and hypnotherapist. In this video I'd like to speak about the topic of our psychological individuation. You could refer to this as part of your soul expression and kind of expressing more of your authentic self. As we go through this human experience, in a sense, we're kind of playing a spiritual game, a game of limitation and then expansion. So when we're born, we're limited to, of course, the physical body that we're in. We're also in a particular family, in a particular environment and culture, and we adapt to those. So when you're a child, you adapt to your family. We have the innate or natural instinct to fit into our family, to receive acceptance, belonging, validation, so to be identified as part of that social group, and then expanding beyond that initial core family, you have other social groups, the tribal culture perhaps, a religious culture, a national culture. So we naturally seek that sense of belonging, being part of a social group or collective. And in order to do that, we're often ignoring something that's deeper within ourselves, something that would make us stand out more as a non-conforming individual. So to be part of your family, you adopt your family's norms, you follow those guidelines or ways of being, even when there might be something within you that's telling you this isn't really who I am, this isn't really who I'm meant to be. But in order to maintain that belonging or acceptance, you just go along with what other people are doing, with other people's values or beliefs or practices. As we progress further in our life, it's natural and typical to start to individualize more or individuate, to not necessarily continue to follow the norms of your family, of your culture, of other social groups you might be a part of. You might start to question things. You might seek out other groups or other social units to be a part of. As we go through this individuation process, it's as though we're tapping into more of our soul's potential, more of what might be considered your authentic self. And by authentic, I mean you going internally to explore who you want to be, rather than just following some external model or external norm for how you're going to live your life. So if we're only looking to someone or something outside of us to tell us how we should live, then we could say we're not being authentic, we're just copying something external. As we become more mature and more secure and confident within ourselves, we feel more free to express more of our individuality, and that's where we might refer to that as being more authentic in who we are. This is an ongoing process of personal evolution. Being part of a human society or culture, It's natural to fit in and conform to a certain extent as you go through your journey. But as you grow and become more mature and more liberated from those external norms, you may find that you don't care as much about what other people think. You're willing to take more risks. You're willing to stand out from the crowd more, willing to challenge the status quo and accept whatever the outcome of that may be. You have a more intense desire to follow your own inner passion, your own inner dreams or longing, and you may be willing to risk some negative feedback or consequences from the society around you in order to pursue what you feel is your truth or your authentic path or your authentic journey through life. If you're on a spiritual path, a process of spiritual growth, it's very common to notice that you're coming into conflict with your family, with some social group around you. And there's that kind of tension there between your older conforming version of yourself and this newer expansive version of you that's seeking to kind of step out of that box, to not be limited by those social structures that you've been associated with. It's a process that usually doesn't happen abruptly or spontaneously all at once. It often occurs as something that's gradually unfolding over time. You may not just wake up one day and say, I'm not going to follow any of the norms of my family, of my job, my religion, and so on. You might just kind of have this stirring that comes up over time where you kind of feel this resistance to what you've been told you need to do. You might feel this longing for something more, this curiosity about what life would be like if you started to follow your inner calling, or you started to explore other possibilities of how your life can be lived and experienced. So it's not something you would have to rush into. You could just start to notice that there's something within you that seeks to grow beyond the limitations that you've been accustomed to, beyond the values and beliefs that other people around you seem attached to. This is something that we all go through in some way at some point in our life, where we're not continuing to be part of some group or social organization that we've been immersed in. So you may feel some loyalty to your family for a great part of your life, but at some point you realize, I don't have to do everything just the way my family does it. I don't have to follow all the exact same values and beliefs. You may carry forward things that you feel are valuable and useful, but you're not going to 100% be a copy or replica of other people around you. You realize that you're unique, you're an individual, and as an individual, you can choose things that other people around you might disapprove of. They might not fully understand or appreciate who you wish to be or what you feel is important to you, but you're going to go forward and follow your path regardless of what those other people may think. So this is a process of psychological individuation. To a great extent, this is inspired by a spiritual aspect of ourself. So we have what people often call the soul, or the higher self, which is that spiritual energy and consciousness that transcend your human incarnation, that existed before this lifetime and will continue to exist and evolve or expand once you've left this physical lifetime. So that's that greater aspect of self that's seeking to expand, seeking to break through limitations that may be encountered in the human experience, so that more of the soul's potential or more of its energy and awareness can be experienced here in this physical human embodiment. So as I said at the beginning, it's kind of like a game that souls are playing, immersing themselves in this realm of limitation with physical and social constrictions present, at least initially, and then over time starting to break free of some of those limitations, starting to expand one's horizons, to explore greater possibilities. I hope that this short talk about this topic has given you some insights, some ideas and inspirations, some things you can reflect on about your own life path. For those that are interested in spirituality and holistic health and wellness, I invite you to view other videos that I've created on these topics. You can also visit my website, phinsights.com. That's spelled PHINSIGHTS.com. For now, I'd like to wish each of you a wonderful day. Namaste.